Have you seen the video that's been all over social media over the last weekend? I think it had close to 1 million views at the time that I shared it, of a young man, maybe 12 to 14 years old, arguing with an adult, hand behind his back, bullying all up in his face, yelling profanities at him, threatening him, eventually actually started punching the grown man. Honestly, the adult showed more restraint than I'm afraid I might have. Hi, I'm J Loren Norris, and you're watching Leading Leaders Podcast, and I have a challenge, especially for parents. I am a parent. I know how hard it is to raise teenagers, especially sons. As they grow older and they begin to take on their manliness, and they grow muscles and loud voices, and they feel like I can take on the world, and so they do. They take on every authority figure that's in their life. They challenge mom, they challenge dad, they challenge aunts and uncles and neighbors and teachers and police authorities and everybody else. And if they're taught early enough, young enough, what genuine respect looks like, a lot of tragedies can be avoided. But if they're allowed to get into those teenage years where they begin to take on some physical prowess and they don't understand that respect isn't about who you can beat down, it's about who you can become. If they don't get that by the time they start to take on some physical strength, they're going to use that physical strength in a bad way. I know. I was one of them. I was a loudmouth, a smart aleck, physical assaultive, bullied the other guys that I was in middle school with, until I got humbled. I didn't have a father figure in my life to raise me. I did get picked up by the police at 3 o'clock in the morning and brought home. I even had one police officer who stood in the garage and told my mother, if you need someone to spank him in a way that he'll remember, hand me the belt. I'll do it for you. And it took some pretty serious collisions with authority for me to get it. But see, I didn't have a smartphone in my hand, constantly on social media, constantly looking for new ways to get in trouble, constantly connecting with people around the world and watching other behavior that's maybe not so beneficial. I didn't have the $400, $500, $600 gaming consoles that allowed me to kill people on my television in lifelike realistic video formats. I didn't have the mobile gaming devices that went everywhere that I went, either on my phone or in my pocket in the form of a handheld game. I didn't have all that stuff. But I had enough imagination and enough relationships with other people that were not so good influences. I got myself in plenty of trouble anyway. I say all that to say that it's ironic to me that now as a leadership coach, what I see people growing their information businesses in is anything that promises the glitz and the glamour. They love leadership lessons that will get you in the new promotion, leadership lessons that will get you to the top of the pile, leadership lessons that will make you a multimillionaire. They don't want the leadership lessons that look like, let's go back to the basics and the foundation and understand some of those human relationships that have not worked out well for you. Let's figure out where you could have been a better person to get ahead. Not by winning over everybody else, but by winning over you. See, I work in the area of those self-disciplines. I work in the area of leadership styles, especially for young men and young women who are still trying to figure out who they are in this world. And so many parents will say to me, I'd love for you to work with my teens or with my young adults, but I can't believe you charge for that. Shouldn't that just be free? And I think, well, your game console wasn't free, summer camp wasn't free, that $1,000 smartphone wasn't free, that iPad wasn't free, that laptop wasn't free. But right now, those are the things mentoring your children. And you wonder why we have the problems we have in the streets and the defiance of authority and the arguing with teachers and the fights in the schoolroom. These kids are so addicted, they're fighting their parents over their game consoles when they tell them to turn off. These kids are so addicted, they fight their teachers in the classroom over a cell phone that's been taken away in the middle of a test. These kids are so addicted to the digital babysitters that have been invested in that the parents neither have the funds left to get them real training that the school system isn't offering, nor the patience yet, the patience left to lead them in the way that they need to be led. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, if you have teens and young adults in your life who are out of control, stop spending the money on the digital babysitters and stop letting them invest in those things as well until you take some time to get some leadership coaching, some mentoring, some adulting classes for these young people that don't look like, let's go kill and steal and destroy in the digital world. But let's figure out how to be useful, relationship-oriented in the real world. Sorry for the rant today, but it needs to be said more than once, and it needs to be said loud. I'm J Loren Norris on Leading Leaders Podcast from Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.